Okay, let's try and unpack this. In today's deep dive, we're focusing on, well, one of the most significant and frankly heartbreaking aviation events in recent memory. The crash of Air India flight AI-171.
Yeah, it's a really tough one.
Our mission today really is to cut through the huge amount of information that's come out and give you a clear understanding of what happened, the immediate aftermath, and, the complex investigation that's now underway. We've got quite a few sources here, detailed reports from Reuters, Wikipedia has a comprehensive page, insights from the Times of India, and of course, official bodies like the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, the AAIB.
And what's fascinating here, I think, is just how much information did surface so quickly, but also how many really crucial questions are still out there. So our goal, as you said, is to help you navigate these details. We want to provide context and highlight the essential facts from all the sources you mentioned. So just to set the scene for everyone listening, the incident involved a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, registration VTANB, operating as Air India flight AI-171. It was flying from Ahmedabad to London Gatwick, and this all happened on June 12th, 2025.
Okay, and the timeline here, those initial moments, that's where the tragedy just really unfolds, isn't it?
Absolutely.
This flight crashed just moments after taking off from Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport. That was around, 13.38 IST?
Approximately, yes. 1:38 p.m. local time.
And it came down, tragically, into a hostile block of BJ Medical College in Magani Nagar. The impact, just by all accounts, devastating.
Indeed. And the human cost, it's immense. The sources we have indicate there were 242 people on the aircraft itself.
Okay.
That's 230 passengers and 12 crew members. Tragically, 241 of those people on board died. There was only one survivor from the plane, Viswash Kumar Ramesh.
Just one. Incredible.
And the tragedy, unfortunately, didn't stop there. It extended to the ground. We have reports confirming at least 38 fatalities on the ground.
Oh, my goodness.
And around 60 injuries as well. So that brings the total confirmed death toll at this point to 260, though some initial estimates were even higher, maybe up to 280.
It's just humbling, really, to think about the scale of that loss, not just the numbers, but, every single or an individual, a family shattered. Given how urgent it was, the immediate response, it sounds like it was incredibly fast.
Yes, the reports suggest a very rapid mobilization.
But I'm curious, in that kind of chaos, what are the biggest challenges right at the start? Beyond treating the injured, I mean. Is it about, securing the scene, crowd control? What else?
That's a really crucial point. In those first moments, it's absolutely a multifaceted challenge. You've got the immediate medical needs, of course, but responders are also simultaneously fighting the fire, which was significant, securing a, potentially wide impact zone, and also managing the sheer shock and sometimes the crowds of onlookers. And we know, in this case, a mayday call was issued by the crew. That came at about 625 feet altitude, just, tens of seconds after takeoff. So they knew something was critically wrong very early on.
Wow.
And following the crash itself, fire brigades, the NDRF, that's the National Disaster Response Force, the SDRF, the state equivalent, police, other agencies, they all mobilized very quickly. And significantly, airport operations at Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport were also stopped temporarily.
Yeah.
That shows you just how comprehensive that immediate emergency response had to be.
Okay, so with those immediate, just harrowing rescue efforts going on, the world's focus pretty quickly shifts, right, to the why. How could this possibly happen?
Exactly.
So the urgent hunt for answers starts. What were those first steps in trying to uncover the reasons behind, this unimaginable tragedy?
Well, the immediate and frankly, the most vital steps always involve recovering the black boxes. That's the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder.
Critical pieces of evidence.
Absolutely essential. And they were successfully recovered. They're currently being analyzed right now in India by the AAIB, the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau. But, and this is important, it's not just a national effort. The AAIB is working very closely with international bodies.
Okay.
Specifically, the US NTSB, that's the National Transportation Safety Board, the FAA, which is the Federal Aviation Administration, also from the US, and the UK CAA, the Civil Aviation Authority. These are all key international partners, and each one brings specific expertise to make sure the investigation is truly thorough.
That international cooperation, it really sounds absolutely vital in something like this.
Oh, it is.
What specific resources or maybe expertise do agencies like the NTSB, FAA, and CAA bring that, say, a national body like the AAIB might not have quite as readily available on its own?
Well, each brings a slightly different but crucial lens. For instance, the NTSB has just vast experience investigating accidents involving Boeing aircraft, given Boeing is a U.S. manufacturer. So they offer deep insights into design, manufacturing, potential known issues, that sort of thing.
Makes sense.
The FAA, as a U.S. regulatory body, provides context on, operational standards, aircraft certification requirements, maybe past directives related to the type.
Okay.
And the UK CAA gets involved because London Gatwick was the destination. So they add another layer of international regulatory perspective, maybe related to the intended route or procedures at the destination. This kind of collaboration really ensures a robust, impartial analysis that leverages basically global expertise.
Right, brings all that knowledge together. Now, one of the first things people always ask after a crash is about the plane itself, its history. Was there any sign of problems before this flight?
Yes, that's always a key question.
And our sources seem to paint a slightly nuanced picture there, maybe.
That's a very good way to put it. It is a critical area, and yes, the information we've seen has been a bit conflicting, or at least needs careful examination. Air India's CEO did confirm publicly that this specific Dreamliner, VT-A&B, had undergone its routine checks. And according to them, it reportedly showed no prior engine or system issues.
Okay, so routine checks clear.
Yes, and its last comprehensive inspection, like a major check, was carried out back in June 2023.
A year prior, roughly.
Exactly. However, there are these preliminary concerns that have surfaced in some other reports. They mention possible engineering issues following a recent refurbishing of the aircraft.
Refurbishing. Okay, that sounds potentially significant.
It could be. This could range from, specific component failures, maybe related to newly installed systems during that refurb, or potentially broader concerns about, say, quality control during the overhaul process itself. Investigators will absolutely be scrutinizing all the maintenance logs, especially anything related to that refurbishment, and the flight data from afterwards very, very closely.
So you have the official line saying routine maintenance was done, plane was fine, but then these whispers, I guess, of potential problems after a refurbishment, that's a truly concerning detail, isn't it? Especially in aviation where those records are so critical.
It is.
Can you give us a sense of what makes those whispers, as I called them, so significant for the investigators? It feels like it adds a whole complex new layer to the inquiry.
It absolutely does. You see, this preliminary concern about potential issues after a refurbishment is significant because while routine daily or weekly checks might clear an aircraft for its next flight, a major overhaul or refurbishment is different. It can introduce new variables, sometimes unforeseen ones. Things get taken apart, put back together, new components might be added.
Right, it's more involved.
Much more involved.
Yeah.
And it requires meticulous reevaluation afterwards to ensure everything is integrated correctly and working as intended. It means investigators won't just look at the last routine check. They'll need to dig deep into the entire history of modifications during that refurb, system integrations, check if there were any deviations from standard procedures. It's about making sure every single part, new or old, was functioning exactly as designed post-refurbishment.
The implications of that could be huge, clearly. What about the sort of broader impact, then, on the aviation industry, especially within India, after something of this scale happens?
The ripple effects are, well, they're profound and often quite immediate. India's Directorate General of Civil Aviation, the DGCA, they've already mandated extra safety checks.
On all the 787?
On Air India's entire Boeing 787 fleet, yes.
Yeah.
And they've also temporarily slowed down flights. They've reduced wide-body operations by about 15% and suspended certain routes at least until mid-July, according to the reports.
Yeah, okay.
And it's not just about the operational side, the safety checks. The financial fallout is projected too. Insurance costs for airlines in India could spike by up to 30%.
30%, that's a staggering increase. It really shows the financial tremors this kind of catastrophe causes, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
Why such a huge jump, though? Is it just about the immediate payouts for this one awful incident? Or is there more to it?
It's actually far more than just the immediate payouts for this specific crash. A potential 30% hike like that signals a pretty fundamental recalibration of risk by the insurance market, right across the industry.
Okay.
Particularly for airlines operating similar aircraft types or perhaps flying in the same region, it reflects the market's assessment of a heightened future liability, increased operational scrutiny going forward. Insurers are factoring in not just the direct costs, the whole loss, the compensation claims, but also the potential for increased regulatory oversight. the perceived higher risk profile now attached to maybe this aircraft type or airline, and just the overall confidence in the region's aviation safety systems. It's a ripple effect that definitely touches every carrier's balance sheet.
Right. It's a system-wide reassessment of risk. But, amidst all these economic repercussions and the regulatory changes, we absolutely must not lose sight of the profound human toll. We touched on it earlier, but how have the authorities and the public been navigating that immense ongoing process of dealing with such loss? It must be incredibly difficult.
It is an ongoing and deeply somber process for everyone involved. Authorities have been working painstakingly. They've identified 259 of the 260 victims so far.
Almost all of them.
Almost all. And 256 sets of remains have already been handed over to their grieving families. DNA testing is continuing for the remaining identifications, which can take time, as you know. And families across India reports mention Kerala specifically, but undoubtedly many other places too are performing last rites. It just highlights the vast geographical spread of this tragedy's impact. It wasn't just people from Ahmedabad.
No, of course not. People from all over.
Exactly. And the tragedy has also drawn widespread condolences, as you'd expect. Public figures, celebrities, India's Prime Minister Modi, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, even international leaders like the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer have offered condolences. It underscores the sort of global reach of this sorrow.
So I guess what we've really unpacked today, it goes beyond just the horrific facts of Flight AL-171 itself. It's the multi-layered response, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
We've seen the sheer human cost, both on the plane and on the ground, the incredible speed of the emergency services, and then how that critical data, the black boxes, immediately becomes the focus for this big international investigation. What struck me particularly was that nuance around the aircraft's maintenance history. How the official reports and these emerging concerns can paint such different pictures initially. It just reminds you how incredibly complex these inquiries really are.
Absolutely.
The whole process of understanding the full scope, the cause of this tragedy, it's clearly ongoing, and hopefully support for everyone affected continues to be the top priority.
And if we connect this maybe to the bigger picture, step back for a moment. This incident really underscores the meticulous multi-agency effort that's required in accident investigations today, and the profound ripple effects, as we discussed, right across the aviation industry, from regulators like the DGCA mandating extra safety checks, slowing flights, to that potential 30% surge in airline insurance costs. It's huge. And fundamentally, it highlights the immense human impact, identifying 259 victims, families performing last rites across the country, the international condolences. It all points to the depth of the loss, which perhaps raises an important question for you, the listener, to consider. As these investigators painstakingly analyze every single detail to pinpoint the cause, what does this ongoing pursuit of answers, especially in such a high-profile, tragic event like this, what does it really tell us about the continuous global effort to enhance aviation safety? And maybe about that critical, sometimes difficult balance between technological advancement, human oversight, and overall industry resilience.